Very good morning. So students, in last class we were discussing our chapter that was mechanical properties of fluid, and there up to the topic of terminal velocity that we have discussed, but some of the small things that are left in the topic, so that we will first to continue with that one. After that we will see rest of the topics of this chapter. So here the first thing, as the terminal velocity that we have calculated in the last class, that was Vt is equal to now 2r square rho minus sigma into z, and this was divided by 9 into eta. So this is the value of terminal velocity that we have got. Now we can see terminal velocity that is depending on a lot of factors. First factor it is depending on, that is radius of the spherical ball. So means greater will be the radius of the ball, greater will be the terminal velocity that will achieve by the body. Next one, that's why you can see the bigger drop that always hit our body, but the smaller drop that is coming with very light velocity. So you can see that was due to the radii property. Now next one, it is also depending on the acceleration due to gravity. Means if gravity will starts to increase, then with increase in gravity also terminal velocity will continually increase. The third term, that is in which fluid it is moving, the ball is or the body is moving, that it is depending on that one factor also. Means with the movement of the body in different media, if it has different viscosity, then for the greater viscosity it will achieve less terminal velocity, for less viscosity it will achieve greater terminal velocity. So you can just understand it by even throwing a ball through the oil, through water. Means two different liquids take there, or the you can take honey and water. So you can see now the viscosity is different, due to that one terminal velocity will also be different there. Now next one, it is depending on this factor, this bracket term you can see. So for this bracket term rho minus sigma, so we can have three conditions, so or three cases. So the case first we can have, that is this rho will become equal to sigma. So whenever this rho is equal to sigma, means both of the density of the body that is equal to density of the liquid. So if both is equal, then that time this terminal velocity that you can see, this is 0. Means after achieving the condition, whenever upward force will equal to downward force, the body will starts to hang in the liquid, in between the liquid or in between the fluid it will hang, it will not move, not in neither in upward direction nor in downward direction. It will be constant at that place. Whenever acceleration will become 0, its velocity will also become 0 at that point. So this is the condition whenever their densities are equal. The second case, whenever this rho that is greater than density, means whenever the density of the body that is greater than the density of the liquid. So if it means that the body that has greater density, that is moving in less dense liquid, then that time the velocity that will be positive. So it means that the terminal velocity that will have some of the positive value. Means positive value means if it is moving in downward direction, it will move continually in downward direction, and it will go with the constant terminal velocity to the bottom of the system in which it is flowing or it is moving. Now third one, after this third case you can see, this is when rho is less than sigma. Means when the body that is moving through very high dense liquid, like just like you can take the example of honey or mercury, then that time for the higher density of liquid, then that time this term that will become minus. Means negative, we will obtain the velocity. Negative velocity means the direction of the movement of the ball that will change here. So if it was moving before achieving the condition of terminal velocity, if it was moving in downward direction, then after achieving the condition of terminal velocity, it will starts to move in upward direction. Means it will alter its direction of movement, and it will come to again the top of the liquid surface. So this is all the things that you can understand easily by using the concept of terminal velocity. That is all, I think, now clear. Now after this one, let's see the variation of viscosity. Means the factor that is affecting the value of viscosity. So let's see our next topic, that is variation of viscosity. So in case of variation of viscosity, the first thing which can affect the value of viscosity, that is the temperature. So as you know, whenever the temperature will increase, then that time, due to increase in temperature, or the thermal velocity that will be supplied to the system, and as thermal velocity will supplied to the system, all of the systems that will come into the motion, and due to that one, the relative motion between the layers that will start to decrease. So as the relative motion will decrease, then due to decrement in relative motion, the property of viscosity that will also decrease. So it means that the viscosity that decreases with increasing temperature. So first factor, and if you will see how it is decreasing with decrease in temperature, so it is given by eta is equal to eta 0 1 plus alpha t plus beta t square. So it is varying with this relationship with the temperature, where eta here eta t you can write. So eta t and eta 0, that was coefficient of viscosities at t degree Celsius and 0 degree Celsius respectively, and alpha beta are constants here. So it means that at any time, at any temperature T, if you have to calculate viscosity, you can use this one if you know the viscosity at the absolute zero temperature. The second factor that also here, one more thing, if you will see the viscosity of gases. So this condition first, this is satisfied by only liquids. In liquid, whenever there is increase in temperature, then viscosity is decreasing. But whenever you will discuss the case of the gaseous system, then for gases the viscosity that increases with increase in temperature. So reason here, so since viscosity of the gas that is directly proportional to the square root of the temperature. So you can see the viscosity of the gas that is directly proportional to the square root, because there the velocity of the gas that is directly proportional to the root t, and as viscosity is directly proportional to its relative velocity. So as velocity that is increasing with increase in temperature for the gaseous medium, then viscosity relative motion will increase, and due to increase in relative motion here, the viscosity for the gaseous system that will increase. So you have to just read them separately, because they both are displacing some different kind of properties here. Now the second factor on which it is depending, that is pressure. So if you will see the pressure, whenever that is increasing, the viscosity of liquid that will increase, but the viscosity of water that you will see that is decreasing, whereas viscosity of gases that remains unchanged. Means with variation of pressure, viscosity of different liquids that is saying is just showing different property. So first most of the liquid, if you will see, that viscosity starts to increase, because with variation in pressure the relative motion that will starts to increase, and due to that one viscosity property will increase. But in case of water, as you know, water is showing anomalous behavior up to 4 degrees Celsius, and that's why it starts to decrease, and later we will see also this behavior in next chapter. And if you will see the for the gases, and as gases, their velocity that is independent of pressure, and that's why here viscosity will also be independent of the pressure. So these are all factors that are changing the value of viscosity. After this, now let's see what is the practical use of the knowledge of viscosity. So the practical use of knowledge of viscosity we can understand by the following factors. The first one, knowledge of viscosity and its variation with temperature helps us to select a suitable lubricants for the given machines. Means in all machineries, which kind of lubricants we have to use that will be suitable in you can say a winter season, in summer seasons, which kind of lubricants we have to use that will be good, because with temperature their viscosity will change, and as the viscosity will change, the machinery will start to work in different manner. So that's why we have to choose a suitable lubricants, and we can understand it by the knowledge of viscosity and knowledge of variation of this factor with temperature. The second one, the knowledge of viscosity of some organic liquids such as protein, cellulose, that helps us in determining the shape of and molecular weight. Next, at railway terminals, the liquid of high viscosity are used as the buffer. So as buffer in at railway terminals, we are using very high viscosity liquid there. Now motion of some instruments that are damped by using the viscosity of air or liquid, means if we have to just use some of the instrument or damp some of the instrument, then as liquid and air can be used. But if you are using continuously some instruments, you have felt that they are jammed or they are damped or their velocity is continually decreasing, and due to that one the viscosity of liquid or air. Next one, the knowledge of viscosity helped Millikan in determining the charge of an electron. Next one, the phenomena of viscosity plays an important role in the circulation of blood through arteries and veins of the human body. So this is all now the knowledge of whenever the liquid and or the fluid systems you will start to discuss, then that time the knowledge of viscosity, that will play always very important role to understand the concept, to understand about the flow, to understand about their circulation, or where we can use different kind of liquids, or for the solvents, for other factors that we can understand by the knowledge of viscosity. So this is, I think, all clear. Now let's start to discuss our next topic after the knowledge of viscosity, and that is the concept of now flow of liquid. So in the flow of liquid, how many types of flow we can see? We will now let's see this one, and after that we will also see a very important principle, that is Bernoulli principle. So first let's see flow of liquid. So the liquid that is observed to flow in three ways. The first types of flow, that is called streamline flow. So let's see what is now first streamline flow. So streamline flow is what is to understand this one. We can consider a liquid that is flowing through a tube AB as shown in figure. So suppose we have a tube. Now in this tube the liquid that is flowing. So this is now A, this is our. Next one, after this we can suppose V1, V2, V3, that are velocities of the particle of the liquid at some points P, Q, R respectively. So let's just take some point P here. At this point P, the velocity of liquid is V1. At some point Q, the velocity of liquid particle is V2. And at some point R, this is V3. This you can see now. Now next one, if the velocities of the successive particles of the liquid remains unchanged, that is if all the particles of the liquid passes through P with this velocity V1, if all, and again through Q with same velocity V2, with R with same velocity V3, then that time the flow of the liquid is very orderly flow, very disciplined flow, and this is now known as streamline flow. So in a streamline flow, simple means if you will just put a plane here, so with that plane, at every point of the plane, the velocity with which every liquid particle will move, that will be at this plane. This will be equal to V1, means that will be same. Again at this plane, you will, if you will see the velocity at every point on this plane, that will be the same velocity. So this kind of flow is known as streamline flow. This velocity can be different at different points, but at a single plane that we have drawn, that here at this point, means at this point, if you will just take a plane, then at that plane the velocity should be same. That is the concept of streamline flow. So we can just define now the streamline flow is that flow in which every particle of the liquid follows exactly the path of its preceding particle and has the same velocity in magnitude and direction as that of the preceding particle while crossing that point. Means if some of the particle that has crossed at this point with some velocity v, then it's after this particle, whenever other liquid particle will come, again that will also cross this point with the same velocity v1, in the same direction it will move. So this kind of flow is very orderly flow, and that is known as streamline flow. So streamline here, that why we are saying this one. So streamline is the actual path that is followed by the procession of particle in a steady flow. So which may be straight or curved, such that tangent to at any point that indicates the direction of flow of the liquid at that point. So you can see now in this case it can be also straight, or this streamline flow can be curved also. So liquid can, suppose horizontal tube we have a number of liquids that are flowing in such a way that is a straight line you can see, but in this case it can be curved. So that is depending on the tube in which it is flowing. So this is now the very ordered flow, that is streamline flow, in which the liquid that is flowing in very precise manner, in very ordered manner. Now important properties of streamline flow, if you will see, that is first one, in a streamline no two streamline that can cross each other, because if they will start to cross each other, then at a single point they will show two direction of the liquid, and that cannot be possible for this one. Now the second one, the greater the crowding of the streamline at any place, the greater will be the velocity. So the streamline you can see that is also predicting the velocity of the system, is greater will be the crowding, greater will be or less will be this inter separation between two of the layers, then greater will be their velocity there. Now next one, here again a very small concept that we will discuss in streamline flow, that is tube of flow. So tube of flow is what? A tube of flow is a bundle of streamlines having the same velocity of liquid particles over any cross section perpendicular to the direction of flow of liquid. So that is, I think, now clear. So next one, after this, the second kind of flow we have, that is laminar flow. So let's see what is now the laminar flow. So in laminar flow, if a liquid that is flowing over a horizontal surface with a steady flow and moves in the forms of layer with different velocities, which has no mix with each other, when the flow of liquid that is known as laminar flow. So suppose you have, if any of the tube and its cross section you have just taken, suppose this is the cross section of tube, and you have started to see the liquid that is flowing here. So you can see if this kind of flow in liquid, very ordered flow you can see in the tube, then that time we can see the liquid that is flowing with different layers, and every different layer you can see that has different velocities, but even they have different velocity, but they are not mixing with each other and they are moving in forms of layers, then this kind of flow of the liquid is known as laminar flow. Simple, in laminar flow always liquid that is moving in the forms of layers here. So that is, I think, now clear. Next one, also you can also understand this one, laminar flow is also a form of streamline flow. So third type of now flow of liquid that we can achieve, that is the turbulent flow. So turbulent flow is what now? So in the case of now, in the case of turbulent flow, we are, if liquid layers that will start to cross each other, or simple, whenever the liquid that is crossing a particular speed, that speed is known as critical speed, and the liquid's layers that are moving, or the liquid that is moving, their order becomes irregular, means irregularly they are moving, randomly they are moving, then that kind of flow of liquid is known as turbulent flow. And this kind of turbulence we can achieve whenever there is some obstacle in the path of the liquid. So suppose the liquid that is flowing here, then that time in flow of the liquid, if some obstacles we have kept, then due to keeping of this obstacle, the liquid that is layer that is moving through this one, this will just collide with this obstacle, and due to collision of this obstacle, its path that was this way, its direction will start to change. It will start to move in this way due to its movement, and it will also retard the motion of other one. So it means that now we can see due to the obstacle, the turbulence starts to create, and the direction or the flow of the liquid, that's order starts to change. That will becomes irregular and less orderly, then or disordered behavior of the liquid we can start to observe, and this is now known as turbulent flow of the liquid. So turbulent flow that can be achieved by two ways. First, by putting some of the obstacle in the path of the liquid, and second one, it can be achieved by increasing the velocity of the, means if continually the velocity of liquid will starts to increase, then a condition will occur whenever or a particular velocity will occur. After that one, the flow of the liquid will automatically becomes irregular. Liquid layers will start to intersect with each other, and that is known as critical velocity. So this is, I think, all clear now. And if we have to visualize the practically the streamline flow and the turbulent flow, so take a horizontal narrow tube, connect its one end with water tap, open the tap so that water flows out of the tube drop by drop. Put a spake of potassium permanganate at the entrance of the tube. A colored line across the axis of the tube that will be observed. So the flow of liquid through the tube is a streamline flow. Whenever colored line you will get. Now open the tap at full flow, and it will observe that the colored line will starts to be broken, and entire liquid of the tube is filled with the color, and that time this kind of flow will become the turbulent flow. So you can see it practically now. Again, the turbulent flow that dissipates the energy of the liquid in forms of heat. So just like the racing cars and aeroplanes that are giving such structural design so that the minimum turbulence that starts to create, because whenever the speed racing car and aeroplane that are moving with a very great velocity, and air that is obviously that has the property of viscosity, and whenever the liquid or the air particle due to in touch with the racing car or in touch with the aeroplane, they will their speed starts to increase, and if the speed of that fluid will increase the critical speed, then its orderly flow will become disordered. It will start to flow in turbulent order, and due to their turbulent order, they will start to create or they will start to distort the kinetic energy of the racing car of the aeroplane. So that we are always designed our cars means if any of the system that has to move with greater velocity, we are giving such kind of design to the front so that it can create less turbulence. So you have seen that always it is given this kind of shape. Also in boards you have seen in this kind of shape we are giving to create the less turbulence, so that without any dissipation of heat, the system can move in the forward direction. I means if the velocity that it is given, it can move with that one. We can move freely with the higher velocities also, and we can create less turbulence. So here we can see now by the knowledge of the flow of fluid, we can also design our instruments in such a way so that we can easily utilize that in our daily life. So this is, I think, all clear to you. So in next class, students, first we will see what is the concept of now critical velocity, because whenever the flow of liquid, this concept we were discussing, then that time continually this topic is arising, that is the concept of turbulent flow or streamline flow, and the limitation, that is the critical velocity. So what is critical velocity, how can we measure it, how can we understand it, how can we calculate it, that we will discuss in next class. So for this class, as the things that we have discussed, that is, I think, all clear to you. So if this is all clear, then for today I think we can end our class here. Even some of the topics that is left in this chapter, and that is also very important topics like equation of continuity, Bernoulli principle, just now I am telling you, energy of the liquid, or the how many types of energy it is possessing, and where we can utilize it in our daily life. that all we will discuss. That is all in next class. So students, I think this is also pretty clear. Then let's end up the class here with this one. Thank you students.